Hey everyone, Brian Zane here with Mr. OohLaLa, and we're here to talk about WWE Clash at the Castle. We just finished watching it, and Mr. Gut Reaction, what was your thought about this pay-per-view?
It was a big, bombastic, fun show that ran into a wall at the end.
Yeah, and we'll certainly talk about that in the main event and all that entails once we get there. But there was some good to talk about this show.
Definitely.
Yeah, this is a fun show. It's the first time in the UK doing a big premium live event in 30 years. It's crazy to think it took them this long to get back to that point. Like after 92, you'd think, let's go every year.
This was like the final nail in the heart of the UK wrestling scene. They're not coming back for another 30 years, evidently.
Show begins with a 6-woman tag team match as Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss take on Damage Control. That's Bayley's new group with Io Sky and Dakota Kai. And,
there it is.
Yeah, the fans brought back the Bayley footy chants, the ones when she was a face and everything. And
they really, really wanted to like Bayley, and she fought it the whole way. God bless her.
Oh yeah, she really kept doing her best to heal it up the whole time, like to the point of just not wrestling at certain points. She'd tag in, big pop. She'd tag right back out, big boo and everything. Early on, we get the 6-person suplex, that triple suplex spot that never ever looks good, no matter who does it, no matter what level the wrestling you're going to see. That's never a good spot.
Somebody's going to tilt to the right or the left, and it's going to look sloppy.
One time I saw an 8-man suplex, and it was as horrible as you might expect. No one came down at the same time. It was brilliant. Asuka takes some of the heat, but then Alexa takes it. Bianca's spending a lot of her time on the apron in this matchup. That's what they're building toward here. A couple of observations. Having not really watched, the regular product as frequently as you are right now, it's been a while since I've seen babyface Alexa Bliss, like without the Lily tie-in or anything. They took away Lily. They took away her theme music. Mm-hmm. They took away her heel attitude, which she's a better heel than face anyway.
She has a perfect face for being a heel. That's all I'm going to say.
When you take all those things away from her, then she's just some gal. That's basically what I gathered from this.
She looks like somebody that works at Hot Topic and also shops there.
It was just...
It's like all the edges have been buffed off.
Yeah, anything that made her interesting as a character, it just feels that they gave it to her and they took it away for whatever reason. And I didn't think that she worked well in this match. I think it was a clunky match, like all around. There was a double superplex off Bianca's back, which I thought was an interesting variation of that move. Bianca goes on a run, but then she's kind of just undone by all three of her opponents. There's the Rose Plant, there's the Moonsault, and Bayley pins to win the match. They make a big deal of Bayley beating the Raw Women's Champion in this matchup here, and I'm sure they'll maybe turn that into a story down the line.
It makes perfect sense. I mean, Bayley's fresh, she's new. It's a non-title match, lots of chaos going on. Bianca has an out.
Yeah.
And it's a good feud for Bianca to carry her through to Survivor Series, I'm guessing, something like that.
Yeah. What would you grade this match on our 5-star rating system, mister?
Our newfangled Wrestling with Regret 5-star rating system, I would give this 6-woman match a 3 out of 5. Entertaining, but nothing special.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same. I'm going to have 2.5 stars out of 5. I think it was a bit too many awkward bumps on the road for me to kind of get into it. So, yeah, I think it could have been a better opener is what I'm saying. It's the match that I think most people were looking forward to this weekend just on account of how physical these two are. It's Gunther versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. There's a lot to unpack with this match, I would say, mister. First off, Imperium is back. They brought back Giovanni Vinci to pair with Ludwig Kaiser to kind of counteract the Brawling Brutes. And speaking of those guys, Butch is still Butch, but as we saw on Smackdown this on Friday, he's looking like Pete Dunne again, when he wrestles at least. So there's that.
Well, a name's a name. It would confuse way more fans that watch this casually than it would please us if they changed him back to Pete Dunne. Mm-hmm. A name's a name, but in all other respects, they're letting him be Pete Dunne. And now there's 3 guys on each team, so they can do a 6-man feud for a while, do a gimmick match, a Brawling Brutes special brawl, whatever you want to call it, thingamajigger, and it should be fun.
Yeah, no, it's cool. And like this match, everyone, I think, all the chatter I saw on the internet was looking forward to this match heavily when it was first made like a couple weeks ago. And I don't think it disappointed at all. It absolutely lived up to the expectations because these guys were getting welted up like 2 minutes in. Like the skin color was already changed across various parts of the body.
This was about as close as you're going to get to a New Japan match in WWE. I mean, Sheamus' chest looked like raw chicken that was infected with salmonella by the end of the match.
And the story that I liked about this one was, first of all, Sheamus is getting beat up for a lot of the match early on, and then there's the story of him coming back, but the story of him, how he fights to get the beat to the Bowdren in, because he will try throughout the match to do it. Gunther keeps getting out in some way, and finally Sheamus catches him like on the announce table, in the ropes and everything. He finally gets that, which definitely gets paid off big time with the fans here. We get some just brutal contact here. There's a big old knee by Sheamus at one point that was hard to see. Gunther gets him back though with a really bad looking powerbomb. You see that one?
The match before this was clunky in a bad way. This was clunky in a good way because they were just beating the shit out of each other.
Right, and after that point when they were already laying in the heavy hits and like, man, this match is like going a long time. They're getting a lot of time to work here. Only 6 matches on a 4-hour show will allow that for sure. We get the Razor's Edge by Sheamus at one point. My favorite part about that spot is once they hit it, it immediately cuts to some fan who looks like he's kind of bored. It's like, that's why you don't show the crowd shots, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yep, somebody's going to stick their finger in their nose right when you cut to him.
Yeah, Sheamus' back gives out before a brogue kick that allows Gunther to come back. Hit a big-ass lariat to win and retain. I'm going to give this one 4 stars out of 5, even though, it's disappointed that Sheamus didn't win. I think this is a match for me where it's like, it didn't matter who was going to win, because I just like the idea of those two beating the hell out of each other for like 20 minutes. What about you?
I would go a little higher. I'd go 4.5. This was definitely the match of the night for me. It makes sense for Gunther to win. Now the sides are even, so they can continue the feud. The heel should generally win the first matchup between the two. I thought this was fantastic.
Yeah, and the ovation that Sheamus got as well after the fact, I thought was just really impressive. So, yeah, I thought it was a good showing. Again, to me, it didn't matter who won, but it was entertaining all the way. Moving on to the Smackdown Women's Championship match, Liv Morgan defending against Shayna Baszler. This was, I think, a good contrast of styles with these two, because I think the story was showing how Liv can come back from like the technical submission dominance of Shayna Baszler and how she's able to try and like persevere through that. What do you think about this match?
She did better with Riddle's training than Riddle did. They've really booked Liv badly the past few weeks. She's just kind of this like ineffectual, weepy baby doll type of a character, and this match did a lot to overcome that, I thought, which was good. There were some interesting spots, like when she had her in the trap and she was injuring her arm in the corner, which played into Shayna not being able to get her submission on effectively.
Yeah.
And then, Liv pulls it out.
I think one thing that was impressive about the match, or just like how it went on, was that you and I noticed this during her entrance, like, where's the reaction? Any kind of response for Liv anywhere? And then like even during the match at some points during her comebacks, it felt like it was kind of the fans weren't accepting it. And then over time, it just kept building and building to the point where the fans really had no choice but to kind of like accept it. And I think that was very impressive that they didn't fold, or they didn't like seem to suffer from that, kind of like waiting for the fans to respond the way they expected to.
And they had the odds against them because it was right after that incredible Sheamus hometown, home country guy title match that was just amazing. So the fans had blown their load, so to speak. So that took a while to build it back up, but they got him there. So kudos to these two ladies for sure.
Yeah, I love the counter, like you said, like the powerbomb kick out into a cure for the clutch, but Shayna's arm is too hurt to really lock it in. Liv's able to hit the code breaker, followed up with an Oblivion, and the way Shayna took that one, it's like how I used to take DDTs, where you kind of roll through it, which is not the way you're supposed to do it. That's how I felt watching Shayna take that Oblivion. It was like, what are you doing? What are the physics of that? But that was enough for Liv to pin and win. So, yeah, I'm going to give this one 3.5 stars out of 5. That's my rating.
I was at 3.25, so I was a little meaner on this one. You were a little meaner on the last one. So.
Yeah, I think we can both agree that I think that this was, of the two women's matches that we saw on the show here, I think this was the better one.
Which is surprising. I would not... Yeah. I would have lost money on the old WWE DraftKings thing if I had made that bet for sure.
It was red versus purple as Edge and Rey Mysterio took on the Judgment Day here. I love the fact that they bring up these guys won tag titles in the company like 20 years ago, and like they're still here. It's crazy to think of a time like when we started watching wrestling, at a time when if you wrestled for 20 years and were still going, you were considered just like an old timer, over the hill, like put you out to pasture. These guys still wrestle the high-end level like today.
You were Pedro Morales putting over the Honky Tonk Man on the third match of the MSG house show.
Basically,
yeah.
It's a different vibe today, man. The business has changed in that sense for sure. The fans pop big for Edge here throughout, who, by the way, had the special like mask he wore.
He was the executioner.
The executioner, exactly.
I was kind of hoping he'd keep that on for the whole match. I mean, come on, man.
That just confused everyone.
Commit.
It's like, why is he wearing this whole match? Like, we know what he looks like. It's like Avatar.
It'd be like the when people thought it was Kerry Von Erich as the Ultimate Warrior. Edge was hurt. He couldn't get through customs, so they...
There was a great moment at the beginning where we both kind of looked at each other and went, oh, they must have watched this week's episode of PAL Pro Wrestling where they had the defense in the corner spot. It was like to a T. The same thing we saw the Bash Brothers do to Savage Heart.
Hey, there's a lot of time on that flight to Cardiff. You know, you're flipping through YouTube, watching wrestling.
It happens, you know.
Stranger things have happened, folks.
Right. At one point, Priest spitting his gum at Edge. The disrespect by this heel there. If Jerry Lawler had been on commentary for that and he spit the gum, he'd go, oh, I think he spit out a tooth. The Razor's Edge attempt turned into Ray crotching Damien, and the sounds that
It sounded like he was doing, like there's some rare Cardiff bird that he was trying to call. Speaking of commentary, it's always a fail when you have a WWE pay-per-view and Pat McAfee is not on it. Byron Saxton over Pat McAfee. Come on. I know him and Corey might have been too much, but...
Yeah, I feel like, maybe Pat had an obligation with it. He couldn't be part of this one. But, yeah, I think his attendance was sorely missed for a couple of matches here. Edge hitting what I called the shits 1-9 in the ropes there. There's a reason... There's a reason that Rey Mysterio is the one who does it there. But then he makes up for it with a spear on the outside, which was also scary in its own way. Finn going up top, Dom interfering, and which allows Rey to hit a super Hurricane Run off the top. It's always glorious to see that. Rhea Ripley going after Dominic and looking to slam him, but then just out of nowhere, Rey dives onto the both of them. Absolutely insane.
Interesting way to get by the whole don't attack a woman thing. You attack your son, whose body then crashes into the woman.
Yes, it's transitive property. That sort of thing. So anyway, it ends with Finn taking the 619 and the spear for the good guys to win. I'm going to give this one 3.5 stars out of 5. I thought this was a very solid tag team matchup. The story, it's pretty easy to understand and follow. And besides the match, nothing earth-shattering in the match itself, which will hang on. But yeah, I thought it was a fine match. What about you?
I'm with you, 3.5 stars. Great, fun match. They had enough story, but not too much story to where it interfered with the mechanism, with the flow of the match.
Yeah.
And then we finally got the big Dominic turn.
Yes, because the story happened here after the match where Dominic takes Edge to Dick Kick City. Then he clotheslines his own father. That was just insane to see. But the best part of that was you cut to the Judgment Day who are just laughing and laughing. It's like, oh, they're cartoon villains. They're so happy with what they saw.
And then Dominic retired. He left his shoes in the ring.
Yeah.
He tore off his shirt. He says, in our house growing up, Dad, we wore clothes. No more.
Yeah, the shirt's off, the belt's off, the shoes are off. I'm just taking it all. So, yeah, that was kind of, I wouldn't say shocking. I mean, the timing, I think people have been wanting this turn for... God, since January?
Maybe not wanting, but expecting, perhaps dreadfully, because father versus son is hard to pull off.
That's going to be really interesting. I mean, there's only so many ways you can go with a match like that, and I don't know. I will see if WWE has the jam to pull off a father-son match like this and have it, work well and have it be believable. That's always really tough. Is Dom gonna have the Judgment Day on his side? It doesn't seem to be. His issue with them seems to be over now. It's like all the stuff, the tension with he and Rhea. I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, oh, that's gone now. Let's move on to Dom, his whole thing with Rey.
Yeah, maybe they'll just split and then Edge will find new backup or something because the Mysterios aren't reliable.
Matt Riddle's got his first name back and he's taking on Seth F. Rollins in a real grudge match here. I liked this match a lot. I think, I'll say it right now, is that there were a lot of similarities I felt between this match and Sheamus Gunther, except there was a bit more of a spin on this one where it's more technical, a bit more flying and
spottier.
Stuff. Yeah.
Definitely matched the intensity though, for sure. It seemed like these guys actually hated each other. Seth was talking some mad shit in the ring that you could hear on the mic about Riddle's family. And
Rollins hitting the buckle bomb in the corner, which the live camera gets absolutely none of. I don't know how they missed that. He was right there. There's an inverted superplex attempt that does not go well, but they do cover for it well. Rollins got the Bro Derek at one point. and there's a kick out. Rollins hits the pedigree, and there's a kick out.
That's why I was like, Vince is still secretly in control because there's no fucking way. There's no way. There wasn't even like a 20-second pause before he covered him. No. What is this? I mean, Triple H, you're slipping, man.
I know. To the legacy of your move. That was the whole basis of his third match with Batista, Hell in a Cell, back in like what 2005 or whatever. Yeah, it's like the pedigree is the move to end all moves. Rollins, like I said, getting right in Riddle's face, saying you're a loser, your family thinks you suck, and everything. It was crazy, which allowed Riddle to make this big fiery comeback and everything. Rollins hitting a drape over DDT onto Orton at one point.
The Randy Orton move, calling back to his bro and RK Bro. What a bastard.
Yeah, so he goes to the RKO, but then Riddle counters that into a clutch. He grabs a chair and he swings and misses, walks right into one stomp. We then get like a super stomp from the second.
A stereo stomp.
Yeah, and I think that one got a big old lump right in Riddle's brow line, which was hideous to see. But yeah, that was the end. Rollins winning this match after 2 stomps. I give this one 4 stars out of 5. I think it was, like I said, right up there with Sheamus Gunther for match of the night. Me personally, I would give the nod to the Intercontinental Championship match. It's all about your preference, but I think this is also a definite possibility of a show stealer.
Absolutely. I'm at 4 1/4, so just above your rating, just a shade below my rating for Sheamus and Gunther. Again, I like the hard-hitting style a little bit more than the kind of more modern spotty style, but it was great, man. It was a nice big slice of chocolate cake that you can't turn down even if you want to.
We see Tyson Fury at ringside. They also brought up the fact he was chatting with like Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre earlier in the day. I'm like, oh no, he's going to interfere on one of these guys' behalf.
He's playing the field.
I know, exactly. So we get the hype package for Drew McIntyre to Broken Dreams, showing all the archival footage growing up, first coming to WWE. They seem to bypass all the 3MB stuff. I don't know if that footage got like lost when they were tracking it overseas, but I think there's a very important chapter they missed out on.
When they made a claim on your 3MB video, they're like, you know what, Brian, you can just have that.
Yeah. So, after that whole thing, like, my whole thought was, how's he not winning this fucking thing?
This was fucking so stupid. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The match was fine. It was like every Roman Reigns main event match.
Yeah.
And I even was talking to you. I was like, okay, it's time. You know, they need to crown a new champion and have a new main event style match going on because all these fucking Roman Reigns matches are the same. We got it again.
Yeah, we were talking earlier in that matchup. I said, oh, this feels like a very symbolic moment because it's kind of like Vince's guy and Roman, Triple H's guy and Drew McIntyre. It's like, what better way to kind of show that this is a new era, new boss in town by having that championship match and having the title change happening like in this big moment here. And also we thought, well, Sheamus didn't win his match, so that means Drew's got to win his match, you know?
And if he doesn't, it's got to be for some big return. Mm-hmm. You know, Karrion Kross has got to interfere. He threw a water bottle after all that.
The nerve of that heel to throw a water bottle, that could have really hurt somebody.
You know, you hear about, that's what you, at the beginning of every wrestling show, don't throw bottles or anything towards the wrestlers. It's a no-no. So Karrion Kross is going to be put on the list. No more front row seats for you, buddy.
It was very much in that familiar style of a Roman Reigns match where they are really good at kind of building up the drama and like Roman gets into his own head if things don't go his way. They really frequently brought up the fact that, hey, Paul Heyman's not here, so that's really he kind of seems lost out there.
And in the end, it didn't matter because we got the debut of Bray Wyatt? No. Braun Strowman? No. Solo Sikoa?
From NXT 2.0? Yeah, that guy. He's Roman Reigns' cousin. He's the younger brother of Jay and Jimmy Uso.
Why is his name not just like...
Well, I think...
Jason Uso or something. I don't know.
Him debuting as Solo Sikoa in NXT, I thought was a real hilarious moment because, like, it's really easy to believe that he's not related to the Usos looking at that face, you know? Like, who are they trying to kid? So I think, it was a matter of the fact that... First of all, we skipped over the fact that Austin Theory came out because there was a big double down and a referee bump. Theory comes down, he wants to cash in, but then Tyson Fury gets up and just decks him.
He conspicuously gets right up to the barricade at this perfect spot where there might as well have been like feet prints on the ground. So Tyson Fury can clock him. And I think Austin Theory is going to be like, at the end of WrestleMania next year, they're just going to pan up to the crowd, and Austin Theory would be sitting in the upper bowl all by himself with the briefcase looking sad with like a 5 o'clock shadow. Because he's tried to
he's tried all year and he couldn't do it.
And he's like, I'm not even going to fucking bother.
Yeah, so Theory gets knocked out, so that triple threat thing, that was a red herring. We were wondering how many different things they're going to throw at this match because we had Karrion Kross involvement, Theory, Tyson Fury. Then we get Solo Sikoa at the end.
They're building up this big balloon. It's the perfect WWE spectacle match finish. You're like, all right, it's either going to end with a big return or Drew's going to be triumphant.
He kicked out of 2 spears, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
And then Roman kicked out of 1 Claymore. And he was going to go for it again, but Solo Sikoa interferes after he pulls the referee out. And then 1 more spear by Roman to win and retain. And so, that was kind of a flat ending to the show, I guess.
Yeah, it was like you blow up this balloon and then you just...
I give it 3 stars out of 5. I mean, the match was good until that ending.
The finish fucking sucked and took a whole star off of my rating, which I think is 3 1/4. So, I mean,
I get the idea of wanting to have Roman hold on to the belt for The Rock next year at LA, but even then, he's not going to lose to him either. But I think it would have been cool, would have been fine for, Drew to win this matchup, have the big adulation, and then, whether it's a month or 2 down the line or something, then he drops it back to Roman or something, but just have that feel-good moment. I think if they could have had that, you would have had a much different story about this show. And now I'm worried that with this, they kind of risk killing the town, killing that territory. We've seen what they did with the UK scene, poaching all the independent talent.
Yeah, they basically cannibalized the entire UK scene, chewed it up and spit it out, and we're like, nah, we don't want to eat you here anymore, bye.
Yeah, NXT UK is gone, and now as one final twist of the dagger, hey, let's, fuck over our biggest star in his home country.
Let's fuck over both of your hometown heroes on the same show, but hey, bye, Miss American, bye. Drove the Chevy to the levee, but the levee was indeed fucking dry for everybody in Cardiff.
We had to look up to find out the significance of him singing American Pie because we don't follow boxing, but apparently that song is Tyson Fury's theme song when he's after a fight. But boy, wouldn't that have meant a lot more and felt a lot better had Drew won that night and have all the people, because they were all fucking sad. Everyone was just too bummed to sing after that.
Like, what? I want to sing some fucking 50-year-old American pop song? What are you doing?
It was that was very bizarre to see. And then Drew follows it up with Oasis afterward. Okay, but it's how does that... I feel this is a show that really should have ended with the fans going home happy.
Especially after the SummerSlam finish with all the fucking... The 1500th Brock Lesnar match that ended with bullshit finish, and it's just the Roman thing is just too fucking long in the tooth.
Yeah, I mean, again, saving it for The Rock, we can get that, but you can also have a detour here. You could find a way where it's Roman loses this match, takes a couple months to cool off, Drew can be champion, Roman wins it back, and whatever, and then you kind of continue the plan as desired. So, but we're going to get more Roman.
And that's assuming that a Rock Roman match needs a title, which it fucking does not.
It really does not.
Kevin Owens and Steve Austin, all they had to advertise was a talk show. It's it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I think that really, like I said, dramatically alters the perception of this show, because it feels like it could have been oh wow, this was a really big show, really big deal.
Dude, this could have been an all-timer. When I was watching, I was like, all right, this has a good flow. It's not too long. It's in a grand venue. This could be, one of their best shows of all time. And then
that main event happened.
Main event happened.
I think if either that changed or if the IC title match were different, we'd be saying something very different about this show. So, Mister, I gotta ask you, what is your letter grade for Clash at the Castle in Cardiff, Wales?
I am going to give Clash at the Castle a solid B. I felt like it was working up to possibly an A or an A+ until that last match happened, and it just took all the wind out of my sails. Even if I had Seth Rollins' fiery bird wings, I don't think I could reach flight again watching WWE programming for some time.
Oh, well, I'm going to give it a B-. I think it was, definitely the matches for the most part were really good. I mean, again, the Gunther Sheamus match, Rollins and Riddle, those matches I think were the peak for me. I think the drama we saw in the tag match with Judgment Day and Edge and Rey Mysterio was well done. And again, the main event with Drew and Roman, I think it was very well done up until that last point. And it just becomes a thing we've seen a lot here. And with that kind of bummer, after everything they did to build Drew up, it just felt like a big letdown. And for the fans to not even get something at the end to kind of like make up for it, I thought was a little bit of a bummer. I noticed at the top of the show, there's no LED business on the ring here. Is something going to happen? It was a fine show overall, but I think that finish really could determine the future of their viability in that market. I just think.
Yeah, and I think it's a good lesson for everybody that, everything's fresh and new with Triple H. It's all just going to be ice cream and balloons. There's no such thing as a perfect wrestling promotion or a wrestling promoter or a booker.
That's true.
This was a good lesson in that, guys.
Yeah, no one bats 1,000 as a booker, and they can't all be winners, is what we're saying. But what did you think of Clash at the Castle, folks? Let us know in the comments section below, and of course, stay tuned because tomorrow night, Mister, it's gonna be a very different story for us.
14 matches, Brian. I need a cot.
It's gonna be pretty intense because 6 matches in 4 hours here felt like a breeze. Gotta admit.
That was the one benefit I think the show is going to have over tomorrow is it was not too fucking long, man. It did not overstay its welcome.
Yeah, all out, I feel there's going to be some time of that happening, but we're going to have to see. We're going to have to get our energy drinks and suck those back as we're watching this show because it's going to be a long night for sure.
Better get into fight and wait.
Right, but until then, for Mr. OohLaLa, I'm Brian Zane, and we'll see you next time.